Seventh floor.
We'll see you around the timeline. Feels good to be back.
I think the Rollup is one of the most premier media brands in crypto, and Andy and Robbie are great experts at everything they talk about, and it's my favorite podcast.
Adding it to my library as we speak.
Potentially multi-chain deployments.
We are at DevConnect Day 1 here. I'm Jesse from Space. JP Morgan, BlackRock, DTCC, Battenally, the entire thing was just institutions. It's next level. This industry is going to the next level. And guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
He said it, he finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish, I'm bullish, we're bullish. Is headed to the top. If we're not already at the top, we're going to the top.
We're going.
Rollup is my favorite.
People from all walks of life, all over the world, all over this industry, come together for the Rollup.
Industry is going to the next level, and guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
He said it, he finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish, I'm bullish, we're bullish. We're going to the top.
We're going.
Rollup is my favorite.
People from all walks of life, all over the world, all over this industry come together for the Rollup.
Zoom out. The institutions aren't coming, they're simply here. It's the golden age of crypto, guys. Get right, let's go. Out. The institutions aren't coming, they're simply here. It's the golden age of crypto, guys. Get right, let's go. Welcome to the nest.
See you on the show.
BTC 64K. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rollup. Good morning, Shine, Greg, Freedom Guy, Edward. The whole crew's here today. Rob, what's going on? Good to have you back, man. Glad we got your lights set up. Maybe we get you another light or two, a plant. Is
A
that
little
your
hard to
favorite
hear you
bird
there, Andy,
species?
but I'm feeling good. I'm back from Peru. Missed you on the show yesterday. Plenty to talk about there.
How many floors in that building? Robbie's on the first floor, you know? That's where he belongs, in the little shoebox there. He's on the first floor. We're the 77th, 77th. Guys, welcome back to the Rollup. You're watching the Rollup from the tokenization tower, the Nest, broadcasting live from the financial capital of the world. Today's July 7th. Guys, welcome back to the show. As always, powered by our friends at Plume and the Nest, on-chain asset management, tokenized real-world assets. Visit plume.org to learn more. Rob, what's going on, man? We got a good show today.
We got a great show today. We have our first guest that's going to be coming up soon. We've got a bunch of news to go over. Went on a little bit of a robotics rant. People were talking about 20-year time horizons yesterday. That's feeling good. Look, market is looking promising. Zcash near hyperliquid all-time highs. Yeah, no complaints on my side.
My entire county has 2 traffic lights. I couldn't imagine what the New York traffic hell would be like. I do enjoy that. I only noticed Robbie is definitely half cut into that intro rant. 100% adds the charm to it. Nest Army, Nest Warriors. What do you like, Rob? Rollup Army? Is this the Rollup Army?
Ooh, I like Rollup Army. Feels a little bit like a militia. And I think we've got some bull market warriors on our hands.
Yeah.
These guys are
we
ready.
do.
These guys are ready. I hope everyone's ready for a 4-year cycle. And we're just getting prepared because we're going to see some disbelief pretty soon.
Guys, we've got an amazing show today. We are from the Tokenization Tower, Markets Weather Live. We're going to do that after the first 2 guests. We have 2 Perps protocols coming into the show today. We've got Rise and Extended. Extended just got a really good round done by eToro and others. And Rise is crushing it on the volume
Freedom guy
side.
bought some Zama last night. Love to
There you
see
go.
that. Love
There you
that.
go.
I do think that the privacy narrative is going to continue to proliferate. Zama is a core piece of it. Pet
Yeah.
peeve, why are there 2 nests currently trending? I don't know.
I don't know.
Actually, I'm going to look
Yeah,
that
one's
up.
on Solana and one's the Hyperliquid one.
Yep.
All right, guys, we've got Ruslan. He is the founder of Extended. Extended is a pretty prominent perp dex who just raised a good bit of capital from some pretty prominent investors. Obviously, we've been covering Hyperliquid and Lighter a ton and kind of been leading this fundamentals crave, kind of mania, I guess. It's not even a mania. It's just like undervalued assets doing well. And so now we're getting a lot of inbound from founders who are also building really good undervalued technology that's doing, actual things in the space. So without further ado, guys, let's get Ruslan up on the show and get this show on the road. He is the founder of Extended, eToro, Extended, and more. Ruslan, welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Yo, how are you, man?
Oh, good. Thanks. How are you? Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Ruslan, it's good to have you, man. I think we had you when Extended first launched, but it's good to have you back. You guys have been building amidst the Perps mania. Feels like this is like where a ton of the attention is. We've got stable coins, tokenization, prediction markets, but perpetuals is a centerpiece of this cycle, if you will, or the current attention market. Give us a sense of what it's been like building in the Perps market over the last few months from when we had you. I think it was a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, to now. You guys have been doing incredible work. Tell us a little bit about the journey.
Yeah, sure. Look, just a quick note before we start that nothing I say today is investment or financial advice, right? And it's not a promotion or recommendation to trade. Extended is not available in all jurisdictions, right? So if you're somewhere we don't operate, this isn't directed at you, right? Having that said, happy to start. Look, for the past 6 months, I think last time we guys talked was approximately 6 months ago, right? Since then, we were mainly focused on the product and the partnerships, right? So from the product standpoint, we've basically released the tokenized vault, right? Which allows users to deposit funds into the vault and then use them as the collateral on the exchange. We've also released multi-asset collateral. We've released spot markets. We essentially closed our fundraising with eToro, Jump, and Albert Blanc, as well as effectively are building the partnership on the product side of things with eToro, right? So it was quite intense, quite a lot of intense work, but I would say it's all for good, right? And we have another couple of announcements to come in the coming weeks, right? So we're quite excited and positive overall.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. When it comes to kind of thinking about the Perps market that you guys have been, building out, we have seen a lot of people get excited about the price action of Hyperliquid and Lighter, and a lot of our people in our community are very bullish on these two. What makes Extended different from a product perspective, from a user perspective? What is different about Extended that is a unique feature? And kind of like examples here being, people are basically saying that Lighter's ZK technology is far superior to Hyperliquid's technology, as well as the way that order matching and order streaming is done. In terms of there's basically there's different types of orders and there's different types of kind of like market making systems between the two, as well as kind of like the tech in general. When it comes to Extended, where do you guys kind of match up here? What's your unique set of features? And if you don't mind just speaking up a bit, I think the audience is finding it a little hard to hear.
Yeah, sure. Look, let me cover three topics probably, right? Tech, product, and distribution, right? So on the tech side of things, our existing architecture is basically very similar to what Lighter has, right? With the only difference that they have a, let's say, private ZK rollup, and we run on a public ZK chain, right? Because basically Extended is settling on Starknet. But besides that, our architectures are very similar, right? Now, what we've also briefly announced today is that now we're building to our target state where we will effectively have a decentralized network, right, that will be running the matching engine, the sequencer, triggering of liquidations, right? But we will continue settling on the public ZK chain, right? Effectively, in the target state, we'll have, I would say, a combination of Hyperliquids and Lighter's architectures, right? Where the settlement, the custody, the validity of transactions, the verification, right, will remain on the public ZK chain, while the matching and the order remittance, right, will be done by our own network of validators, right? Because if you think about Hyperliquid, effectively they have their own blockchain where they have the execution of transactions, which is the matching, and they have the settlement on one chain, right? And then you have Lighter where they have essentially a centralized matching engine and then validations of the trading logic on chain and all the settlement on, again, effectively via rollup to Ethereum L1, right? And we'll have a combination of those two, right?
And
that's on the tech side of things.
Yeah, please go ahead, finish.
Yeah, look, on the product, essentially it's pretty simple, right? We are trying to cover all things trading, right? So by now we have multi-asset collateral with yield-bearing collaterals, right? With WBTC, ETH, and other types of collateral supported. We have spot trading, We have Perps on both TradFi and crypto markets, right? And now we're focused on effectively launching the RFQ-based markets. We are essentially in the target state. The most liquid markets will be supported via an order book-based model, right? And the long tail of both crypto and RWA markets will be supported by the RFQ model. And we believe that we are probably best positioned, right, to offer the widest coverage of both crypto and TradFi RFQ-based markets on the long tail list of assets for both, right? Just because of the partnerships and the investors that we have.
Yeah. When it comes to the customer demands that you're hearing, given eToro as an investor, right? Like there's lots of technical improvements that we've seen across the entire Perps landscape. Comes to order matching, order settlement. You kind of talked through how Extended might be somewhat of a hybrid model or somewhere in the middle between Hyperliquid and Lighter. I'm curious a little bit more on, what someone like an eToro is demanding. How in the weeds are they on order matching, order settlement, right? We obviously heard from, Hyperliquid how they were sort of built on the back of FTX collapsing, and it was important to them to kind of have this thing that was, not really able to be shut down. Lighter, right, is kind of prioritizing a different set of features. If you are thinking with your investors in mind and eToro is a major investor, how much are you building for their feature set, and what are some of the prioritized features that someone like an eToro, a traditional financial institution, is looking for?
Yes, and look, and that's basically the third point of the differentiation, right? That we are aiming to push is that essentially we want to have more partnerships like the one we have with eToro, right? And we do believe that a lot of TradFi brokers, right, are just basically going into DeFi, and there will be much more partnerships similar to the one we have to cut in the future. Essentially, to answer your question, I would say the due diligence process with eToro took approximately 6 months, right? And we've expected it to be much quicker, right? But they really went deep across all of the aspects of the perp right? From the security setup to how the matching works, right? To the regulatory roadmap, and effectively all things which are important to run the business, right? I wouldn't say that we are prioritizing any of the features for them specifically, right? However, I would say, are adjusting our roadmap based on the questions which they ask, right? Because sometimes they ask certain questions which you think, okay, that's actually a very good way to think about the given problem, right? Probably should address that, right? And that spans from, security to the way we offer product and to the way we market it to the users.
And one more question on this partnership, but thinking broadly about the integration of DeFi tools, perpetuals, contracts into, consumer-facing financial applications that are on the scale of, millions, if not billions. How do you see the adoption and integration process going? You spoke a little bit about the feature set, but given that someone like an eToro has significant distribution, do you think the path for the financial tooling, financial system that we have on chain, is it effectively like the back end for the financial systems that the consumers are already accustomed to? Like, do you think we're going to follow the generic path of, TradFi in the front end and DeFi in the back end? Is that sort of the way to think about this?
Look, it's probably a bit too simplistic, okay, right? A bit too simplistic, but I do think that we're going into that direction, right? So I do think that blockchain as a technology will likely effectively scale as being a way to store and transmit data, right, for financial applications, customer applications, etc., right? Then we'll definitely see more user-facing retail brokers coming into DeFi, right, and coming into Perps, especially with the view to offer 24/7 markets, right? Like even talking about eToro, so today they've basically announced a revamp of their application, revamp of their strategy, and they were talking about two things, right? AI and DeFi, right? So I do think that this narrative and this trend will continue, right? And that we can tell probably the same about Robinhood with their recent announcement, right? We've talked to almost, I think by now we've talked to the majority of at least European retail brokers, right? And I would say that all of them are looking into DeFi, right? Obviously, the degree of their knowledge and the stage where they are differs a lot, right, from player to player, but all of them are thinking about that.
Yeah. Ruslan, on that front, right, when you're thinking about the product and kind of all of the growth that you guys have seen, I'm curious kind of what that stats look like from the revenue side as well as from the user side. Kind of, can you give us a bit of a sense of what the fees that you guys are generating are, how you guys are generating fees, what that looks like comparatively in the market, and generally what the business trajectory here is of Extended?
Yes. Look, all of the data is obviously public, right?
Exactly.
In terms of the volumes, I would say we're generating somewhere in between probably 300 to 1.5 billion of volume, at least for the past 6 months. That was the range. In terms of the fees, it's somewhere in between 70 to 300K a day, right? Which is basically in line with the volume. As for the users, it's probably around, I would say 15 to 20,000 weekly active users, right? In terms of the trend, we've basically seen the majority of the biggest uptake in the usage was in January, February, right? We saw a bit of the decline since then, but by now our metrics are quite steady and stable.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, that's, you guys are doing 300K days.
Not every day,
the highest.
right?
No,
This is probably the biggest days, right?
Yeah, 70 to 300K days. I mean, Perps are one of the best business models in all of crypto. I mean, it's insane. You guys are pre-token, right? And a lot of our community is, we've traded on Hyperliquid and Lighter before they launched. We've, trading on Variational. Excited about these tokens. And excited because you can take the token and actually make a real use case for it. Like you can have a real fundamental cash flowing asset because of the, just because of the revenue that you guys are generating. And this is like changing the entire space. Like the rise of perp dexes is changing the entire framework for how people are thinking about tokens. Obviously, like Hyperliquid is like the golden goose here, but it's not even just Hyperliquid. It's just there's a set of assets now that are on the back of a really sustainable and strong on-chain business. And people are wanting to invest in these assets over pretty much anything because they take the token holder and they make them a first-class citizen. And the token is the equity. And they know that they're going to get this consistent buyback, and they know that this business is going to keep growing. And so when you're thinking about the future of Extended and kind of thinking about how to scale this business, the token side, just curious, any thoughts on how Perps have changed the token model for the industry and how you're thinking about it more broadly?
Yeah, look, as you've mentioned, I think Hyperliquid is the golden standard, right? And they've basically set the standard in the industry, not only for the perp dexes, but also for the other projects, right? What I think is also important to add that besides the strong revenue model, right, there is also a real utility for all the perp dex and exchange tokens broadly, right? Because effectively for us, we'll have, let's say, our own validator set, right? Which means that we'll have stakers, validators, etc., right? Then besides that, obviously when you run an exchange and you have a token, right, like token can give discounts to fees, etc., right? Which basically is a way to revenue share again, but still it's these are all additional utilities which perp dexes and exchanges broadly can give to the token holders, right, for which other businesses would struggle to do so, right? But I generally agree with you that especially in the case of Extended, for example, we obviously see our token being closely aligned, right, with the growth of our ecosystem.
Ruslan, what do you think is going to be the differentiator? Like, we've kind of talked about the power law as it pertains to some of these different market segments, perps included. You know, there's going to be winners. Those winners are going to continue via network effects to increase and accelerate their lead. But do you think it's going to be partnerships? Do you think it's going to be a technical moat? Do you think it's going to be some sort of wealth effect through a token that is going to continue to compound? What do you think is going to differentiate, you know, the sustainable good perps dexes from the ones that, you know, might slip behind?
Yes. Look, I think fundamentally there are only four aspects, right, for any perp dex and any exchange, right? One is the quality of the product, right? Second is liquidity. Third is the markets that you can offer, and fourth is the distribution, right? I would say that the first three ones, they are a must, right? Without them, you will not be able to achieve anything, right? So fundamentally, the only differentiation in the long term is the distribution, right? And every perp dex will have to find their own way, right, to acquire users. Obviously, Hyperliquid is now the go-to venue for all the users on chain, right? And us, Lighter, Variational, other perp dexes or trading venues, they are trying to get a bit of the market share, right, from the existing users, right? But realistically, at Extended, we are more focused, right, on the distribution via partners, right? This is not something that we have today, right? But this is something that we're building towards.
Given that there's a niche depending upon this distribution in this market segment, for instance, you know, we know that perps have typically stuck to crypto native assets, but now there's going to be more of a breach into RWAs. We heard Robinhood's announcement. Yes. They're very focused on RWAs. And as you go into new market segments, you end up with different paths for new distribution. And so what is it, like, what is the next frontier? What is the next asset class that you're planning on offering? Are you looking to, you know, you obviously started mostly from crypto native assets. Are you guys looking into commodities, looking into RWAs? Is there a new asset class that you're planning on diving into? And then what are the distribution channels for that asset class?
Yeah, look, one, in terms of the new asset classes, right? I think I've mentioned it briefly, but effectively, I think within the next couple of weeks, we'll have the widest offering of RWAs among the perp dexes, right?
Really?
And we'll continue scaling, yes, and we'll continue scaling, right? So basically, in terms of the distribution channels for us, right, there are effectively two types of channels that we see, right? One is the existing on-chain users, and for them, we just have to offer a differentiated product, right, which has to be with a good liquidity, which has to be stable, etc., right? We do believe that we have some of the differentiation features for those users, right? Like the widest offering of RWAs, which we'll have soon, the yield-bearing collateral, etc., right? And now the second distribution channel for us is the partnership similar to one we'll have with AERO, right? Where effectively we'll be integrated into the Zango wallet, and through that wallet effectively get access to their users, right? And the idea is to simply scale those partnerships, right?
Yeah. And so what makes Extended well suited to support the breadth of assets that you're talking about? Like, you're talking about, you just made a pretty bold claim, and I want to dig into it, that Extended is going to have the widest breadth of RWA assets of any perp dex. Where is the current perp landscape lacking? Like, what is currently underserved that you will now launch? And why is Extended well suited to launch these new assets?
Yeah, look, it's not that I don't think that the market is underserved per se, right? But essentially, if you take Trade XYZ, or if you take, Variational has been super active in listing RWAs and Lighter, right? I think they all have sub 50 markets, right? In the first iteration of the launch that we want to have, we are aiming to launch approximately 100 markets, right? 100 RWA markets, which will continue scaling. Essentially, what positions us well to launch those markets is the partnerships that we have, right? Because if you look at our past cap table, we've only chosen to go with the strategic partners who can bring something on the table, right? Effectively, we have the largest liquidity providers, right? And we have one of the largest distribution partners, right? And that places us in a good position, right, to effectively have the widest offering of RWA markets.
And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the third.
Look, something might change in I don't know, within the next 2 weeks, and maybe I don't know, Hyperliquid launches 1,000 of new RWA markets, and that won't be true, but that's at least the ambition that we have.
Well, no, I mean, I think the RFQ model is crucial here for the expansion of listings. And I don't think Hyperliquid's going to go down that route. I think I think the difference is Hyperliquid is looking to be like price discovery on chain. I feel like the battle that Extended and Variational are basically fighting right now is for maximum amount of depth on the maximum amount of breadth of markets. And I think those are almost like two different visions for what they're trying to do.
Look, yes, but it doesn't mean probably you're right. Hyperliquid will likely not launch RFQ-based markets, right? But the reality is that their tech stack allows to do it, right?
Yeah, okay.
If you have order book-based markets, right, it's very simple to launch RFQ-based markets, right?
Yep. Okay.
I think the fact remains here, like there's a first mover advantage to some of these markets because the liquidity effects tend to compound. And so if you can be the first to launch some of these RWA markets, liquidity will start to accrue to your listings. And then people will get to know, like, okay, if I want to trade, this RWA, then they'll come to Extended. And so then you get more liquidity, you end up compounding that. Can you give us a sense of what sorts of RWAs we can expect over the next couple of weeks from Extended?
Look, guys, it will be announced so soon, right? So let's just wait for the announcement.
Yeah, man. I mean, that RFQ model.
But it will be commodities, equities, everything, right?
You can launch any listing with good liquidity with the RFQ model. You don't really need a whole lot of depth because you can just source it across basically solvers. So very cool, Ruslan.
And what's also important in our RFQ model, that it will be open to everyone. So anyone will be able to effectively quote. Right?
Great. Got you. Ruslan, man, just kind of closing thoughts from you on, the journey that you've been on and with Extended and kind of the vision where you guys are going from here and, this being a part of this mega trend that is Perps. Just kind of close us out here.
Yeah, look, it's been a great journey, right? I think we've done quite a lot, but there is much more to do, right? And we're effectively looking forward to take that challenge, right? And we believe the market is growing, right? And the competition is also growing, right? But honestly, it's good to have great competitors in the space, right? Because they push you having a better product, right?
Yep.
So, basically super positive on our side, both the perception of the market and on our plans. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Thanks, Ruslan.
As always, thanks, Ruslan. Congrats on
the launch.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Cheers, buddy.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Man, this space just keeps growing. Just keeps growing. I mean, there's so many opportunities, man. I mean, it's I feel stupid for passing on Variational at 500 million.
You're not.
Because Lighter's at 2.6 bill FDV. Unlocks are going to come in the next, I don't know, like 6 months maybe, 3 months. And I mean, Lighter to $10 feels like possible.
You're not stupid, man. Come on. There's so many of these out here. It's tough to know which ones are going to reach distribution. I think Perps as a category
I feel like you can just
so huge and it's going to continue to get bigger.
But isn't that the case? Is just bet on them all? Like that's what Dragonfly's done. They just hold hype. Hasib's shilling hype. He owns a ton of they own a ton of Lighter and they own a ton of Variation. They led both those rounds. And they might have even done Extended.
At a $500 million market cap, I could see more of an argument to just kind of take a wide cast net approach because at 500 mil, like these are companies that have already reached some sort of product market fit. And they're going to continue to outperform. As you get deeper into like lower valuations, though, if you cast a wide net,
for sure, I agree.
I agree. You end up
like I'm not trying to fund the I'm not trying to fund the untouched, unused ninth perp dex. But like, yeah, I don't know. That was just a bear market opportunity that should have probably taken.
I think now we've reached some sort of critical mass where Hyperliquid has almost helped the rest of the market realize the opportunity set with perps.
Correct.
And so
that there's going to be multiple winners.
So yes, there is going to be multiple winners, but I think the question is like, where are most of the winners going to come from? Are they going to come from like CME launching a perpetuals product, which they're inevitably going to do, and like these other derivative exchanges with the distribution? Or are we going to get the classical, like, innovators are going to innovate faster than the incumbents can innovate?
Yeah.
They're going to innovate faster, but are they going to reach distribution? I think some of them have gotten some sort of exit velocity, which is great. But where are the winners going to come from? Like, we may only have a few come from the on-chain native builder class, and then the rest of the winners might come from that traditional class. And we're breaking into that market. Access is becoming more available, but we didn't get into CME's seed round. Let's be real. So like, we got to figure out what we have at our disposal here.
But I do just feel like, like if these things keep the volume that they're at, then they'll undeniably be very, very good tokens to own. Or maybe I'm just like getting way too over fixated on like perps tokens as like the next best thing, because we've already seen tons of these. We've seen DYDX and GMX, and maybe this is just like the next kind of class. But at least in the current zeitgeist of like, what is my token hold? What is my token doing for me? These things are undeniably the best holds. Like the hype and lit chill thesis is like, you just know you're owning quality stuff.
Well, I'm curious to hear our next guest's perspective on this. We've got Sam Battenally, founder of Rise, who is founder of a Perps protocol that has recently been on the rise, pun intended.
Certainly.
So we're going to bring Sam up. Let's get him up here. And I'm curious what he has to think about this, because
Sam,
there's been plenty of
thank you for staying awake.
No, it's great to see you fellas again. How are we?
Yeah, good to have you, buddy. Congrats on the recent growth. I saw DCF God's tweet yesterday. You guys have cracked some pretty strong numbers and came a long way since buying that Perpsex. And so, Sam, maybe just catch us up, man. It's been maybe half a year, or at least a little more than a quarter since we chatted. Last time I think you had purchased this Perpdex and really kind of restructure the Rise approach to what you guys were trying to do, from let's kind of be this really fast, high throughput blockchain for a myriad of DeFi applications to, oh wait, trading is kind of the end game here. Execution is where all the money is. Let's build one of the best trading products with this technology that we've built. And then let's scale that. And so that's kind of where we are now. So Sam, catch us up. What did I miss? I'm sure I missed a lot in there.
No, you pretty much nailed it, to be honest. We initially built Rise with the intent of building out a trading ecosystem. I think blockchains are incredibly powerful at flattening the stack. That was always the vision we saw. They offer disintermediation, and like a unified risk engine is really the vision that we set to build out. And we realized the best way to do that was to actually build the flagship app ourselves. And so what that means is a common architecture and roadmap we see in the Perp space is that a protocol or a project will build the exchange first, and then they'll either realize, or they already knew, that there's quite a large potential of composability and programmability for blockchains. The fact that you can have spot and derivatives for stocks, commodities, FX, and crypto, like all in one venue, I think it's just a massive unlock, and we actually haven't seen that at scale yet, really witnessed in a product. And so Rise and RiseX, so RiseX is our flagship exchange, really asks the question is, what if we skip that, starting out with the exchange and then worrying about composability later? What if we skip that and jump straight to a fully composable stack where from day one we can have a Morpho-Lite instance deployed, so we can leverage the years of Lindy that Morpho has been able to build up for our unified risk engine to support unified portfolio margin. And then we can have Yearn, for instance, running our Vault infrastructure, so we can have Vault products on top of the EVM. And given that everything is fully EVM based, within the order book, we benefit from integration partners having such familiar tooling and things like that. So that's the thesis. As for an update where we are, we launched RiseX about 10 weeks ago. We've just hit, I think, $2.3 billion in volume. So the growth has been really solid.
Go.
Yeah, we're stoked on it. So we put so much effort into the product
That's
after 18 months of building, and yeah, I think we've hit a nerve somewhere with the users, and I think it is just product quality.
So, Sam, I want to get more into the growth story a little bit later, but I do, because you came from a place where it was almost a similar thinking as us, like. We went through the whole modularity thing. We dug deep into the whole architecture of these applications and these protocols and blockchains. And we were kind of thinking from almost like an ecosystem approach, thinking, if you go way back into, DeFi summer, we had these DeFi Legos, and we were kind of building the financial system out of that. But if I'm understanding you correctly, it's almost like you've taken those DeFi Legos and you've put them into like one product, not like a disparate financial ecosystem, all of which still is composable, but you've almost used these things as supporting foundational pillars of a Perps DEX. And so now you're using like lending and borrowing for unified margin, and you're using like Yearn yield to support vaults. Like you're kind of building out this financial ecosystem all under one roof, all under one unified engine, and it's effectively all adding into this perpetuals ecosystem. I guess first question is that the right way to conceptualize this? And the second, maybe just bigger question at hand here is, why is Perps as a category so big that it seems to have swallowed all of these other financial building blocks?
To answer the first question, I think the lens to look at it is really who's in charge of onboarding the users, and what's the experience those users are having. And the blockchain, this universal blockchain approach, is that it's B2B2C. You onboard the builders to then onboard the users. We've taken the approach where we cut through that we see it as our responsibility to onboard the users, because those users will bring opportunity for builders on Rise, like be it Spine or Icarus, some of the native apps that are building on top of the building on Rise, that we're going to be using their infrastructure for liquidations on spot or lending to support unified margin. So my expectation is that a vast majority of users will access Rise or use the Rise chain without knowing the chains behind the scenes. They'll be using it through the RiseX interface. Means we can control it. We can have gasless transactions. We can have that Web 2 experience. So it feels like a centralized exchange as you use everything that's on Rise. And then behind the scenes, we have these protocols that really benefit from all of this traction. So that's the vision there. As for why Perps have done extremely well, I think everyone knows the opportunity that tokenization has. In this, particularly in the recent 6 months, we've seen the potential for it. The fact is that building spot liquidity for any asset is very expensive and very difficult to do. Perps are just brilliant at bootstrapping liquidity. The fact that you can deploy, say, $1 million of capital, and you're able to line a book with $20 million of limit orders is just something that you can't compete with in spot. So I really see Perps as being the starting gun for tokenization. It's going to unlock things like basis trades with tokenized RWAs that ushers in spot after the fact. But yeah, I think that's the leading thing, is liquidity.
So it's not just that Perps have done so well, but it really seems as if they've swallowed like all of the rest of the categories. And I really just want to double click on this, because if this is the case, this just seems like it's already huge. It's only going to get bigger. And it's that we've talked for so long that the middle gets squeezed. We know this. Like, when it comes to the applications and the protocols, the middle gets squeezed, infrastructure, these sorts of things. Do you have distribution, or do you have really deep bare metal tech? And it seems like from a financial perspective, spot is sort of the middle that gets squeezed. Derivatives are the things that are super lightweight and can proliferate like far and wide. And do you think that's why? Is that what we're seeing? Because perps are effectively this super lightweight derivatives layer, we can extend them far and wide. Everything else sort of gets squeezed, but it ends up supporting the financial export of the industry in these derivatives.
I don't think so, actually. I think spot potentially has more opportunity than perps in the long run. If you look at the daily active users of centralized exchanges, it's in the order of millions per day, whereas on chain it's like Hyperliquid, it's between 50 and 75k any day. And the bottom line is that there's actually there's many more users trading on spot on centralized exchanges than they are trading on perps. It's a much bigger market. It's just really the challenge of bootstrapping it. On chain, we just don't have spot markets that compete with the centralized exchanges today. If you're going anywhere for an index price, it's going to be Binance. It's not competitive anywhere else, particularly in the EVM. Uniswap can't compete with Binance's execution and price discovery. It's just a limitation of what you can do with an AMM in my opinion. So yeah, I would push back on that. I think spot has massive potential. I think tokenized spot as well is going to be huge in the next 18 months.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of text from people asking if there's specific market makers or who's the underpinning of the tokenized equity market right now. Who's market making these markets? Who's participating on the perp side? And so there's kind of like a whole new race now to be the dominant venue for these trading, for market making for this, for Oracle and data providing for these things. Something like a whole new reshuffling of infrastructure providers, venues, et cetera, that are all kind of like now all gung-ho on like, we need to reorient our entire tech and stack and thinking towards tokenized assets. And I think what's kind of interesting though is that perps are almost on the far other side of the spectrum to tokenized spot, especially if you do it like the right way in terms of like native ownership, direct one-to-one ownership in a sub-brokerage account that's KYC'd at some US bank. It's like actually like far different ends of the spectrum in terms of like what you own. But it's interesting that, Rob, if you're using this example of like the middle gets cut, it's like maybe this barbell, this is an overused analogy in crypto, but maybe this barbell ends up being like perps on one side for a certain set of speculators, and then the absolute creme of the creme, direct ownership, tokenized equity on the other side, and then like kind of that wrapper SPV or like other derivative structures that aren't as efficient as perps, even like futures, maybe that gets squeezed. And so that could be an interesting way of thinking about it as well.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something there. I think you'll need entities or sophisticated parties to bridge that gap between spot equities and perps. There's just too much in the way. But I do think that perps will enable liquidity for tokenized spot equities on chain. The fact that you can hedge within the same environment is going to be a real help, and the fact that you can load up a basis trade on say a SpaceX, for instance, will help build the OI and help build the liquidity for those spot markets as well. Yeah.
Sam, I was looking at the TVL stats that you post, and you guys have a very steady kind of linear growth to $10 million of TVL, but $1 billion of monthly volume. Does TVL really matter to you from the perspective of like OI, right? Is that kind of the same thing when it comes to perp stacks? How do you think about TVL as it relates to volume on RiseX?
Yeah, we don't incentivize volume. We don't incentivize TVL at all. We're very different to most universal EVM chains. What we're mostly focused on is the number I look at the most is DAUs and volume and fees. Fees essentially says that people are willing to pay for this product. What you want to see is that your volume over open interest ratio is healthy. You never want to see this above, say, like 10x. Otherwise, it's an indication that the volume likely isn't healthy. So If you're looking at open interest and liquidations, they're probably like some of the healthiest stats that we look at. But I think that chart, the one thing I really like about our TVL chart and also our open interest chart, as well as our DAU charts, they all look the same, to be honest. It's just
steady.
It's like a steady grind up that we're seeing. We're seeing month on month growth, and that it's organic. That's really what that's what we set out to do, is build this from first principles, and we're seeing the fruits of that now.
Yeah, and then on the business side, Sam, when it comes to fees, revenues, what's that story look like? What is the kind of fee model that you guys have chosen, and what does some of the revenue currently look like from like what does $1 billion of monthly volume get you in terms of revenue?
So our revenue in June was just shy of 500K when combining the trading fees as well as the vault. We do have some fee rebates from trading volume. Essentially, users work their way up the fee tiers, and we're currently doing that as rebates. So that drops down a little bit, but a vast majority of that is revenue that's can go back into growth of the protocol, and in the future we've got options once we launch a token with what we do with the treasury.
Sam, this is a question we don't ask too many people. It just popped in my mind. What does the expense side of the equation look like? Because we talk so much about buybacks, and we talk so much about revenue, but that's only one half of the equation here. When it comes to like Ethereum's security rent that you have to or the L2 fees, what does the expense breakdown look like?
Honestly, Ethereum doesn't charge very much for we don't use Ethereum DA, so it's really just for settlement. So that's relatively cheap. We use EigenDA. We're actually the biggest power user of EigenDA, and so there's costs there. However, the bottom line is mostly it's operations and paying Bezos for the infrastructure. That's where most of the costs are. And
so on a 500K month, are you guys in the green on that?
Yeah, we're
for sure, right?
Yeah, very much so.
For sure. Yeah. So you guys got a real business on your hands.
We got a business. Things
welcome to
looking
2026, Sam. Welcome to the new era, man.
Remember what you guys said. Return to fundamentals. We're there.
Two real businesses on the show today. Extended doing like 70K to 300K on their best days, and now Rise doing a 500K month last month. Look at this space, Sam. Who would have thought?
It's new era. It's I think build businesses that users want to use, and offer products that users want to see. People want access to RWAs. People want access to new assets. That's what's interesting now.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it as well, like I think, Rob, the reason why you asked that question was like, there's also this framework around understanding like net token value flows and understanding like, okay, how much is there revenue into the business? And then basically you calculate emissions, expenses, and maybe like one or two other things. And then you get to like this profit and loss sheet for token holders.
For the business and also for token holders, exactly. So like you can look at revenue into the business and expenses out of the business, and then you can look at like revenue into the token and expenses, into the token in terms of inflation.
And I mean, obviously, Sam, you want to like reinvest these profits into, R&D, team, et cetera. And then once you get to the token side, you're going to have a lot of pressure from the community to effectively, Hyperliquid's kind of set the standard of like, we're going to do 99%, I actually think if Hyperliquid came out and was like, we're only doing 97%, I don't think it would change that much. So I think there's like a little bit of leeway there. But yeah, I think the goal for the industry's builders today and like the separation is thinking about that net value flow. And like, if you can be consistently green in that every single month, you've got a very, very investable asset on your hands, and people will buy that thing up.
I think the one thing that's been amazing about launching the product, you guys know how long we spent and how much effort we put into building this. But the day that we launched, the entire company changed. We went from essentially we delivered this pristine data that we can make decisions on, that we could look at every single action that we're doing within the team and how that results to the metrics that we want to see, so fees and volume, things like that. I think that's a real game changer. I think it's interesting that that sounds like obvious for a business and how a business should operate, but it's actually 12 months ago, and in crypto's history, that's been like lacking quite a bit. And the fact that we can move with clarity now has been a massive level up for us, and I imagine it has been the same for many other teams.
Sam, we kind of blew right by this, but I think it's worth just spending one question on. We don't have to spend too much time on it. Like, you guys said you're the main consumer of EigenDA. EigenLayer is sort of like an AI company now. What is the state of their DA product?
It's still kicking. They like it's stable. They built a product that works, and we're the biggest users of it. So there was some recent shifts around their staking between Ethereum and Eigen staking. But as a user of the product, there's been like some shifts to the security assumptions there, but ultimately they've done a really good job of delivering on a strong product.
Just works.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, just works. I don't think about it much, to be honest. It just works.
Yeah, that's
good.
the goal.
Good for you guys. Yeah.
When it comes to thinking about scaling from 1 billion to 10 billion monthly volume, right? We just had the extended guys on. They did this partnership with eToro Lighter on last week. We had Vlad talking about their Robinhood, partnership. So clearly, distribution is now becoming a very competitive game for Perps on chain. Is that what you think the next breakthrough is like getting this in front of more retail investors? Is there other kind of key facets that you see as the road to getting this thing to $5-10 billion of monthly volume?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the stat about the daily active users in centralized exchanges compared to on-chain, I think that's a real core market. So that is going to be the real unlock. So I think yes, we need to get access to that broader market. However, I'm not confident that working through an existing retail broker, a traditional finance retail broker, is going to be the long-term strategy there. I honestly think like you said, the people in the middle get squeezed. I think the strongest position to be in is to actually own the user base, and the market that we're sitting in, that we're trying to tackle today, is massive, and in 5 years is going to be much bigger. So I think what we see on chain today is that we've captured particularly Hyperliquid and to some degree Lighter and even Variational now has captured this very highly valuable user base, but it's highly concentrated. So the LTV of each of the users is super high because they trade quite a bit. However, the number of users is relatively low. So I think that larger user base of users that essentially Binance has access to, or like Robinhood has access to today, is essentially untouched by on-chain venues. So what I anticipate is that in the next 2 years, essentially there will be a on-chain venue that gets access to this user base, not via a distribution partner, but themselves. They actually do the distribution themselves. And they have the potential to really level up and see daily active users in the millions and doing 10 billion plus a day in volume if someone's actually able to tap into this user base. And we've seen this before. This would be a scale of disruption in the market of what FTX did when it not when it blew up, but when it entered the market, or even when Binance entered the market. I think there's potential for an on-chain venue to do that.
What do you think is going to, what we've learned is that consumer behavior is so ingrained in people that it takes something significant in order for them to switch. If their daily habit is going to one website, it takes something pretty significant for them to switch their daily habits, thing that they do, day in and day out. What do you think is powerful enough to get enough people to switch their behavior and really tap into that market?
Where I see the lower hanging fruit isn't essentially tackling an existing market. It's serving a product to users that are underserved today. So there's many users that maybe once had a product and then the circumstances change in that particular jurisdiction, and they now no longer have that product. So for instance, I used to be able to trade perps in Australia. I no longer can on centralized venues. So there's many pockets of users that say they can't access this particular asset category in their region, but we're able to offer them that through a non-custodial experience and a wallet. So that's actually where I think there will be the most potential, is capturing these underserved markets or these underserved user bases. Like there'll be particular niches, and you might need to work with particular local regulators to access them. They're the pockets I actually think are the most valuable.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I mean, the whole downloading a wallet and the passkey now is kind of like the main easiest way, just Face ID or finger scan on the laptop. It's definitely an improvement, but yeah, the experiences of like these Robin Hoods and things is far easier. But then like, I don't know, man, my brokerage account, super easy. Like super easy. The only headache that I have is whenever I put money into a money market, I have to wait a whole trading day to be able to use it. So that's like super annoying. But otherwise it's like, deposit, withdrawal, wire, whatever. But then when you go from trading perps or crypto on like Hyperliquid or any perps DEX and then go try to trade on Robinhood, even versus like a centralized exchange, it is materially harder because it's all on your phone. One, I don't really like that. And two, the fees are extravagant. And so you're just getting like destroyed on the fees, and you can't go to like Kraken Pro or Coinbase Pro or Hyperliquid and just pay the normal, market making fees. You're paying the freaking whatever fees that like the basic person is paying. And so it's funny how like the trading experience is maybe easier on some of those platforms, but then once you try the venues on chain and you get the experience, or even like a good quality crypto exchange that's, like a Binance or Kraken, you actually find that going back to like Robinhood's or whatever is actually worse. So
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
I think it's once you overcome that hurdle of onboarding and understanding, and then I do agree, it's definitely worse. But it's interesting. We've been talking about the onboarding experience and UX for years now, and I still don't think anyone's really cracked it. Like of the perps DEXs in the market, no one's really cracked at the experience. That you want to have 2FA on the system that's holding your assets, and you want to have a recovery system. We just don't have that yet. So I think once we overcome that, then there's potential for quite a bit of growth.
Yeah. Sam, man, congrats on the growth. Looking forward to seeing this thing grow to 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. I know it's late over there. We appreciate you coming on, and great to catch up. Let me know when you're in New York if you have plans. I'm sure there's some market makers or traders or firms that you need to speak to here, and you have to come to the studio and hang out.
Yeah, I've got to come and check out Tokenization Tower. It's on my bucket list.
Yeah, the Rollup's grown up a little bit over here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's a brave new world over there. Good stuff, guys. Really appreciate your time.
RiseX, the number one Australian perp DEX.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see you later, Sam. Thanks, man.
See you, buddy. Man, perps just keep growing. These prices are awesome. We're gonna look back and say, why didn't we get more? I'm taking advantage. I got big bags of hype and lit, but I'll sprinkle for some bags of others. I could actually see 3 to 5 perp DEXs actually being competitive. Too many perp DEXs, there can only be one LIT. So kind of some differing opinions in the chat here.
It comes up in my mind, like why hasn't Rise launched a token? Why hasn't Extended launched a token? You got Hyperliquid live, you got Lit live, Variationals coming online. Going from like a privately owned perp DEX to launching a token is one direction where I think a lot of these are going to end up doing well. And there is going to be some upside because market share and whatnot. Yeah. I think we're going to get a major an acquisition of a major perp DEX by a major financial institution in the next year, to be conservative.
Really?
I think like those who have not yet launched tokens, I mean, Sam and Rise are in the billions. Extended is in the billions. I could see eToro acquiring Extended. I could see a major financial institution acquiring. Sam, I think, is going to launch a token. We didn't ask him, but I mean, I think he's going to go probably the token route. But I could see other major perps DEXs choose to stay private than exit to major financial institutions. And so I think there is tons of upside.
Yeah.
Because I think you are going to end up with this big perps pie. You're going to see the players right now are going to make up most of that pie. You're going to see some incumbents launch their own, and that's going to come up with a significant portion of that pie. And then you're going to see some incumbents acquire like native built perps dexes. So I think if you're looking at like, okay, on-chain native portion of perps markets and then traditionally financial incumbent portion, even if you call it 50-50, right? You get the CME, JP Morgan, eToro, like that side, and then you got hyperliquid ladder, variational extended rise side. Even if you say just 50-50, some portion of the trad 550 is going to be acquisitions of the on-chain side, which are going to be, things, if you do have exposure to it from a private investor access point of view, there's still upside there. So from that perspective, I think there is tons of upside in the on-chain native built perps.
I think the reward to launch a token is just significantly higher though. Like if you're looking at Lighter and Hyperliquid as your mental models and your variational, you're for sure launching this token. Like this thing is like, you're going to trade in the billions. You're going to have a good bit allocated to the team. It's just like the incentive is like yesterday you were asking the securitized guy, why go public? Well, the answer to that question that he wouldn't say is because we just got rich as fuck. Mm-hmm. That's the answer to the question. And so, yes, I think selling the exchanges could give them a good option as well. But I mean, yeah.
But I don't know. I hear you, and I think it makes sense. But and I think part of your point is that launching a token is similar to going public. You get exit liquidity. But look at Hyperliquid, for example, or other companies that end up launching these tokens. If they start to sell tokens, that's a different sort.
But I think the team is selling the tokens already.
Hyperliquid?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the devs are selling some tokens.
Maybe some tokens, but I don't know how many tokens they're really. There's probably some on-chain analytics on this because, from what I'm understanding,
they're definitely selling.
They're selling some, but relative to the entire supply, it's not very much.
No,
for the team to get rich, remember, if you sell a company and you own most of the equity, you get most of the proceeds of that sale. But
of course,
if you launch a token and you have some portion of that token supply, you don't. I feel like it would be like if you exit like the entire token supply in one shot. So like maybe you don't get the valuation that you would get if you launched the token, but
precisely that would be my take.
Your liquidation path is much faster.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. I think Argentina just won an absolute insane game. I think Atan bet on it. I think he probably won. It was the right bet. They come out down 1-0, and then
at halftime
they win 3-2, if I'm not mistaken. 3-2 full time, 3 goals. Apparently they took away a goal from Egypt from Mo Salah, and people are just so fed up with the VAR. The VAR reviews, they're so fed up. And they're also fed up with the hydration breaks. If you go to these games, guys, at every game, they're just booing at the hydration break. They're just booing hardcore. Like they're just like, boo. In the stands, like the whole time, just booing.
You know the hydration break is just for TV ads.
Yeah. It's just like a commercial. Yeah. It's like a commercial break. Which brings me to Frax, building infrastructure for the future of digital money, open, stable, and borderless. Visit frax.com to learn more about stable coins on this hydration break. All right, guys, let's get into the markets, the weather, get the show on the road. Let's have some fun here. 67 degrees in New York. It does not feel like a July day. It's overcast. That's the Empire State Building right there. We are looking at all-time highs across our bags. Just join, lads. What did I miss? What's going on, new type? You missed 2 up-and-coming perp dexes that we interviewed. Great conversations. Both are like much more on the smaller side than, our hype and lighter bags, but they're doing well. Egypt was up 2 against Argentina last 15 minutes. Argentina scored 2, then a third with a few minutes left. Unreal.
Embarrassing.
As always, our weather is powered by our friends at Relay. Visit relay.link for the best cross-chain swaps in the market. Let's keep it rolling into the markets. That's what you guys want to hear about. Let me tell you about Denari first, building infrastructure for tokenized U.S. equities, bringing real-world stocks on-chain, trade SpaceXD on hyperliquid spot markets for Denari, powered by Denari. Bitcoin, 64. Ethereum, 1,800. We're going to look at the charts in a bit, guys. Solana, 82. Zins in the mouth. Chainlink just around that $8 mark. And near over $2. As always, guys, powered by Zama. I mean, do you honestly? Guys, we've been talking about Michael Saylor and Stretch, and I know that Rob wasn't here for that whole saga, but our bull thesis was just that Michael Saylor's Stretch product was going to get to like low 90s. Like, it was the most stupid bull thesis ever. It was like, this thing that's supposed to be at 100 is just going to get to like 89 to 92, and then we're going to party for a little while. And if we check the price of Stretch today, it is 88. It tapped 91. 90.9, 91, and we're partying. I mean, Bitcoin looks ready to go. It looks ready for another leg. We've had, 7 daily green candles in a row on Bitcoin since the world was collapsing. What's that one movie with that chicken? The sky is falling. That was the vibes. Chicken Little. Yeah. So that was the vibes while you were gone, Rob. I think you texted me. You were like, "Oh shit, new lows coming," and I was like, "I don't know, man. I think we're gonna go higher."
I did not text.
I think you did. I think I can pull the text up.
I'll pull the text up. Last time you pulled something up, it failed to exist.
Here we go.
I texted you that I had some longs underwater, and they're no longer. Well, some of them are still. That's okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, pull it up.
Let me tell you guys the bottom here on this.
Yeah, let's hear it. Because last time you tried to do
here we go.
Some trip we had to Del Rey. The text did not exist.
It's risk on time after I was buying hype at 66. Yes. Let me see.
Let's see. I think this might have been another one you fabricated in your head.
Nah, dude. You were like, oh, here we go. Market sucks. So choppy. Market sucks. That was in June. Nah, this is too. I don't know. I'll find it.
No, you won't. Yeah, and I was here when we were talking about Saylor, and my opinion was that Saylor shouldn't do anything.
Well, he did things.
Well,
that's for sure.
He announced
sold some Bitcoin.
things, and then he sold some Bitcoin yesterday when I got back. For 10 days, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, he's waiting for you to get back.
So, and it worked.
But our thesis has literally just been stretched back to 90, 92 for a little while, calm down the investor nerves, and then go for it. And that's kind of what happened. Near looks great. Chainlink also had a really nice deviation. We'll go through some charts in a bit, guys. Solana also is holding that must-hold level, so I could expect to move higher on Sol. ETH, honestly, I'll pull up the chart that we were looking at last week, guys, but ETH is getting to the make or break point. If we flip these levels on ETH like we did Sol, then I think we could get a really, really nice party for a little while. Like something that we haven't seen in months, but we're kind of at the point right now where we need to flip these levels. So as always, guys, our market is powered by our friends at Zama. We'll get Rob's takes on a bunch of the market stuff. We'll do some screen share in a few. But before we do, let's get into the news. Let me tell you about Near first, your home for building and using on-chain apps, one account, no borders, your financial life all on-chain, powered by Near. Visit near.com. Wow. So, Rob, I put out a tweet, and the tweet was like, what is the best, most undervalued, under-owned tokens? Mm-hmm. And then I quote tweeted on my own, and I put a screenshot of EtherFi, one of our funds holdings. And I was like, EtherFi is undervalued. It's doing very well, and it is, the market's mispricing. You know, part of like this whole like fundamentals thesis. And then the Cast founder, somewhere in the replies, started dogging on EtherFi.
Wait. I'm going to ask a clarification question. What is Cast?
Cast is like a neobank card.
Okay. So competitor to EtherFi.
Yes.
Okay.
Extremely. Much so. And then him and Mike got into a bit of a scuffle. And then Mike posted this banger. Thing hit like 400K views. And in this screenshot, the cast terms of service reportedly treats users' deposits as sales to the cast company.
Whoa. So like I deposit into this platform and you are treating that as like buying
I'm selling
something?
that asset. Like I'm giving you, like I'm selling that asset to you for
I don't like
basically
that.
zero.
I don't like that.
And so people are like, is that a tax event? Is that a taxable event? It's completely custodial. And in the terms of service, it literally says you give up all ownership and it is a sale to the cast company.
For what? What do I get in return for selling you
We
my
get
money?
to use the card. You get to use the card. So, yeah.
Let's okay, so now Mike and Cass are just completely going back and forth at it. This is actually in their terms of service. This isn't a parody.
Yeah, so if you scroll down in the comments here, can we get a mute in the chat, please? Base is not doing an airdrop. Base airdrop will be the catalyst. Base is not doing airdrop. L in the chat for cast. Can we get a mute in the chat, please? Thank you. Your IQ is showing, and that's how custodial cards work, where the company effectively buys your crypto for you upon deposit. It's the same for BinanceCrypto.com, blah, blah, blah. Is it your first day in crypto? Fuck off, Casthole. Okay.
Where the
keep scrolling down.
Hold on. The company effectively, scroll back up real quick. The effectively company what? Buys
They're
your
basically
crypto
saying
from you upon deposit.
upon deposit. It's the same for BinanceCrypto.com, Coinbase, etc. Is it first day in crypto? And I don't know. Yeah, keep going. Do you like being a...
All right,
Have
Mike is taking an appeal to emotional authority here, but is that really what happens? So like,
is that like the philosophical term when you try to guilt trip someone with morals?
Sort of, yeah.
Appeal to authority, emotional authority.
Well, when you pose a logical argument, you can appeal to different sources of authority. You can appeal to an emotional authority. You can appeal to a logical authority. You can have philosophical arguments different ways. It's not the point.
So anyways, guys, obviously we invested in EtherFi. We're still holding the tokens. That was part of my bullish post. It was like, we're still holding. We haven't sold any of these tokens. It's been like 3 years. Charts down only, but it's okay. And yeah, I mean, if you scroll, okay, so let's go to the next post. You can see the kind of timeline of events here. So the Cast founder made a joke about the competitor. So July 3rd, I asked what token has strong fundamentals, but badly on our own. Then I answered my own question with EtherFi. Someone posted a chart of the token, deep red. Cast CEO quote tweets it and says, "We're not very good at marketing. Dumping on retail doesn't count, question mark. Tried being a cute little dunk. Then EtherFi CEO did not find it cute. You want to talk shit because our token's down in the gutter. Can we get that off the screen? Your whole business is scamming customers. You're a con artist." Yeah. And then he did a South Park meme that we just saw. And then Mike did the quote tweet and that thing is flying. And he kind of got owned here.
Who did? The Cast guy?
I think Cast guy kind of got cooked here.
I mean, somehow Mike's quote tweet that called him a scammer hit like pretty viral.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I think it's important to know what your terms of service are and your custody terms and who's using things and what. And so
let me just, I want to try to just steel man this here. If I deposit into this, the person in the comments had the best, not the best, but like the most reasonable or strongest appeal here, where they said that it's treated as a sale to Cast, meaning that like I get cash for my crypto. It's effectively like I'm selling it for stable coins on this card, and then I can spend the stable coins from this card. But what if I were to like withdraw my crypto? Would I get, like, let's say I deposit, it's treated as a sale, right? And then the market goes meaningfully higher. In my mind, I'm holding on to this crypto, right? But I'm just spending down the balance. When I withdraw, do I get the coins or do I get the cash from when I sold it at the lower point?
No, I think you get the coins. I think it's more of a custody question. I think it's more of like So users receive a USD denominated spending entry, but the terms say it is not an account balance or stored value. So maybe you're right, Rob.
That would be pretty. I mean, they're gonna lose if they're misleading customers and thinking that I deposit, I get to spend down this balance, but when I withdraw, I'm gonna withdraw money based on the fluctuations in this. If that's what people expect when they're using a crypto card, is that their money is kept in the crypto, is that it's going to be subject to the fluctuations in the price, up, down, or sideways. But if they're gonna just
it's not
sell
like
you're not, then you could just sell it, off ramp it, and then spend like on a regular card. There's no point.
Yeah, that is a wrinkle that I did not consider. I don't want to be too hard on Cast. Like, I think they have a really good product, but this was just like one of those bang moments where, you know, you're building a non-custodial application in DeFi, and, you know, you're seeing your competitor who's not doing things the same way you are, and you just kind of take a shot at them. So, yeah. Bit of drama here. Nothing really for us. Yeah, we're EtherFi holders, as I've said, as I tweeted. What is that token doing? Oh, yeah. Pumping. Pumping off the lows. Finally. We'll see what happens. It's got a long way to go. A long way to go. I'll draw some levels up for you guys here in a bit.
That's okay. That's all right.
No, don't worry.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
I think we're good.
All right, guys. Let's get into our next one. Before we do, let me tell you about Infinify, building DeFi infrastructure for simpler access to on-chain yield, liquidity, capital allocation. Visit infinify.xyz to learn more. Raoul Pal comparing governments printing money to service existing debt with using one credit card to pay off of another. The rich own assets. Assets hold their value as the currency debases. This is kind of like the OG Raoul Pal take, and I think it's just like an interesting point in time to remind everyone kind of like what the current investing climate really is. Just go ahead and play the video.
So basically what they're doing is printing money to pay the debt. That's like using a credit card to pay a credit card. That's the whole game we're in. This is the debasement of currency. This is the game why the rich get richer because they own assets, the poor don't because they have incomes. Incomes only grow with GDP, and assets go up by the rate of debasement, which is at least 8% a year, plus maybe an inflation rate. So that's the whole game that is being played at every government level right now. And we're seeing it again yesterday as the Federal Reserve go back to using the balance sheet again. It's all the same story. We've got $10 trillion of debt to roll in the US alone in the next 12 months. So, and I'll come on to the business cycle and how that all interacts, but this is the story. This is what drives number go up and drives adoption of the industry that we all know and love. Or maybe not right now because it keeps chopping around too much, but generally we do.
This is from 2025, November.
So basically what they did.
Yeah. I mean, look, the thesis still plays out, especially when it comes to the terms of service, when it comes to Hyperliquid airdrop. Yeah. New type. Tell me about it, I didn't click the button.
So
I didn't click the button. Yeah.
I mean,
there goes generational wealth.
I think
lost.
I think Kevin Warsh has an opportunity to be a really good Fed chair. I think, you know, he came out his first Fed meeting. He said he's going to be hard on inflation. People were peak hawkish, thinking that he was going to raise rates. I think Kevin Warsh is going to play squash for a little while. I don't think he's going to do anything to the rates. I think he's going to decrease the size of the balance sheet. And I think we're going to absorb all these disinflationary pressures like AI and like the Iran war. And I think we're just going to kind of roll through, keep rates where they are. The economy's in a relatively healthy spot. And I think we're just going to continue at these like somewhat elevated rates and somewhat elevated inflation levels. If he can do that, I think the economy can absorb all of this. You can end up with some deflationary pressures from technology and AI and the war ending. Then you can really blow the roof off the place and print some serious cash. And I think that's where we're headed. I think like, the economy's actually in a decent spot.
Wow. Okay. Rob,
stock market is at like all-time highs. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it looks great. Let's move off Raoul Pal. People in the chat are not too bullish on Raoul Pal. But so we had this team from Hyperliquid on called Nest, and they have like a VE 3.3 DEX very similar to Aerodrome, but they have this crazy hype staking program, like crazy yield. And, we were all putting in some, we were putting in like some small amounts into it and like doing this like lock program. And I mean, the token is down from where we talked about it. And it's kind of like gone through its first parabola. But Marvin in the chat just got $350 of hype dropped after 1 week of staking $1,500.
Wow.
And Greg also locked Nest too. So guys, it's going to be interesting to see if hype breaks all-time highs. If we get Nest doing well as well, then this thing's just a money printer. If it's like a beta to hype and it's giving that yield, dude, that's kind of nuts. Love Raul, but damn F notes and Sui. Yeah.
So
Rob, what's your take on this? Tokenization, securitize, you had Billy on.
Billy's great. Securitize is great. Leading the tokenization wave. I think this is what's going to bring billions, if not trillions, on chain. Those are going to end up in DeFi protocols on chain. We're going to end up with more activity, more fees, more value accruing to token holders.
Bullish.
That's the thesis. And
Yeah.
Securitize is leading the wave. So I asked Billy if Securitize is a crypto company.
Okay.
He said no. And I think this is the narrative that they're taking to TradFi. It's like,
Yeah.
tokenization is not crypto. And he said that word for word. He said tokenization is not crypto.
Yeah. It's not all the fugazi that it.
No,
that
of course
crypto is.
not, man. Of course, tokenization
definitely not.
isn't
It
crypto.
couldn't never be that.
We're modernizing the financial system. We're not messing around with that meme coin nonsense.
Yeah.
This isn't crypto. This is efficiency. This is innovation. This is financial infrastructure. And we're upgrading the system.
Yep. New Type says, did we talk about Ondo Perps, which is actually kind of like similar but different? They just launched their Perps product today. I don't know. I think they have a chance, but
Ondo?
I'm not buying Ondo here on the back of their Perps launch. I would just keep riding Hyperliquid and Lighter.
Andy, I want to talk about Robinhood Chain.
Okay.
Actually, I want to ask you like your take on Robinhood Chain, because that was I want to talk to you about a couple things. One is Robinhood Chain, the other one is Open US Dollar, because these were kind of the two big things that happened while I was gone. And I'm curious like how you think these play into the market. Do you think Open US Dollar has a chance against Tether and Circle? And do you think Robinhood Chain has like what's happening there? It's an Ethereum L2 with Arbitrum, like what are the flows? Is it the new base? Like what's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, apparently people are paying a ton of money to be the chain or the apps on the chain. So in previous worlds, the chain would pay to get the apps to deploy on their network. And I saw this Yano tweet about it where it was like, in this case, the apps were paying Robinhood to get primary listing on the chain or primary usage to be like the, denominated lending market. Like I think Morpho paid a bunch to be like the lending market. I think it goes for a bunch of these infrastructure players. And they've grown. What's cool is that they have direct access to the tokenized versions of all the assets on Robinhood. So you can like trade pretty much anything that's on Robinhood eventually through this new DEX called Rialto. We actually just got thrown in a group chat with them, Rob. And they are kind of like the prop AMM for tokenized assets on Robinhood chain. Mm-hmm. And so it sounds like this prop AMM concept is dominating for tokenized assets. And I don't know, man, they're growing. Robinhood chain is growing. It's doing well. It's very early. There's basically two takes on this. There's Neo Finance. This is like the future of distribution for a lot of these DeFi applications, onboarding a ton of these new users, new investors into the ecosystem. And then there's the corpo chain, bad chain. We've seen this tried many, many times, and it's not going to work. I kind of side more on the Neo Finance, this is a really nice distribution wedge for a ton of cool DeFi protocols, and Lighter got a massive boost in price from this by being listed as the official Perps DEX. Morpho, Arbitrum, Ethereum, all kind of winning Chainlink from this announcement. So my take is more in the neo finance camp, less in the corpo chain camp. And I think it's a good start for them. And I think they could be a top 5 chain.
I mean, Robinhood is a top 100 US equity by market cap, $100 billion company.
Yeah.
So
massive.
It feels like a big deal.
Would Robinhood chain also launch on-chain options, or is Derive still the king? Derive is the king. Also, guys, Derive has some stuff coming out that I've been privy to. We'll look at that chart later as well, because I think it's gonna have a run.
And so, like, part of the thesis here is that if I understand correctly, all the equities that Robinhood currently has, and the underneath the hood here is that, you know, Robinhood has a lot of users. Robinhood is a broker. It buys the equities, and it allows people to interact with the equities, but the equities never really change hands. Like, the DTCC has a listed shareholder of the equities. Robinhood is listed as a shareholder. If I sell an equity, if I own an equity on Robinhood and I sell it, right, and then you buy it, the title, the owner of that equity never really changes hands. It's always just listed as Robinhood, and then Robinhood internally on its ledger just shifts the equity from my account to your account. All of the equities that Robinhood has in its balance sheet that it's holding on behalf of users, they could tokenize all of that. They don't need, my understanding is that they don't need anyone else's permission in order to tokenize that. It can be effectively be like a stable coin where they have treasuries and they just have these liabilities that they have issued out to their customers. Robinhood has assets on its balance sheet in the form of equities. They can just, people are going to buy those equities from them. Those are listed as liabilities on the balance sheet. They can just shift that account model any which way they want. And it can all be tokenized to allow for, well, it could be for self-custody. It could be for direct settlement. It could just be for instant settlement, moving around internally. So just that right there could, like the path from all of the equities that are currently getting traded on Robinhood to getting traded on Robinhood chain, there's like a very, very direct path for that to take place.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I think that it's not a corpo chain. That's why I don't think the corpo chain shit works here.
The last point that I'll make here is that I think there's a metric to watch. I think it's going to be assets on Robinhood proper ratio with assets on Robinhood chain. And my guess is that right now it's like 99-1.
If that, yeah.
Exactly, right? But over time, I would expect this to just continue to get more and more like one-sided in favor of Robinhood chain, to the point where eventually we're going to get like 1-99, and 99% of the assets of Robinhood are going to be on Robinhood chain.
That would be insane.
And I think it's and then just to continue from that, it's like, this is the neo-finance thesis. How does that affect, quote unquote, our bags? Like, if I own Lighter, for instance, and Lighter is the chosen perps dex on Robinhood chain, and 99% of the Robinhood assets in the form of equities are on Robinhood chain, doesn't that mean that like substantially more volume and open interest is on Lighter?
Yeah, and you know that Lighter launched a separate instance for Robinhood chain, and that by the magic of ZK, you can basically like aggregate the liquidity after if they need to, you can aggregate the liquidity across the different instances of Lighter. But Lighter's gonna have to bootstrap liquidity on Robinhood chain. But I think for their new instance.
If Robinhood assets move from Robinhood to Robinhood chain, then it's so much easier for people on mainnet Lighter to get access to an equity, because then they all of a sudden have access to the entire breadth of Robinhood equities.
Yeah.
Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you can,
I think that's right.
Aggregate liquidity.
But you still need liquidity for them.
You need Robinhood to move assets from Robinhood to Robinhood chain. Then you have it on Robinhood chain. Lighter can tap into that liquidity, and you can aggregate that for other Lighter instances. Means that all of a sudden, anywhere Lighter is deployed, you have access to all of Robinhood equities.
However, lighter instance on Robinhood is going to be KYC, or it's going to have AML restrictions, and it's going to have a whole different setup compared to lighter, not.
That makes aggregation and composability more difficult.
For sure. What is STRC? That is Michael Saylor's stretch product, the dividend or the preferred digital credit product. Nest Alpha is fire. Yes, Derive. I have some more on Derive for you guys.
Robinhood users are unsophisticated retail meme gamblers. I can't see how to exploit them above what Robinhood already will/is. I think you mean Solana. So what will Coinbase, Kraken, and Robinhood be competing on? Where are their moats? I think this is a good question. I mean, you end up with like Coinbase, Kraken, Robinhood. You could even throw some of the other centralized exchanges, Binance, those competing with Binance. You could throw Hyperliquid in here. These are all competing for the same thing. It's flow. You're competing for order flow, order execution, order settlement. All of these things are like the exchanges.
Deep liquidity moat. It's inevitable. Then we all get Z monies. Freedom guy's hilarious, man. Sigma's Slayer. Good to see you here. Facts. Yeah. So I mean, Rob, that is Robinhood chain, and that is kind of what's possible. And it caught a lot of the market off guard, and it was pretty big for crypto. Morpho as well, Chainlink, LeFi, a couple others did really well off that. Ethereum and Arbitrum as well. Arbitrum is not getting enough credit for the work that they're doing with variational on their platform, and now this Robinhood chain.
Do you think Arbitrum and the other L2s are victims of the equity token split?
Yeah, they're all. I mean, most of the industry is right now.
Man, the Gary Gensler effect just continues to.
Yeah, you're right, man. It is funny how Hyperliquid launched post Gensler, right? They launched their token right after Trump got, or right before Trump got voted in, or right after, or like it was November 2024. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the exact dates of the inauguration, but it was
inauguration would have been January of 25.
Okay, so then a couple months before, but knowing that the previous era was coming to an end.
Yeah,
it's funny how that works, right? B20 token is launching on Base tomorrow. This will make it possible to launch all tokenized stocks on chain. What will bring these stocks to Aerodrome? Big moment.
Oh boy, you think that's why we're seeing Aerodrome pump?
I think they have that AERO mainnet announcement and migration happening in July. I think that's what it is.
They also have this RWA like moment. Coinbase had their big upgrade, and I kind of like what G Vader is saying. B20 token, if you get like a token standard that has maybe KYC, privacy in mind. I'm just going off the people in the chat here that are
is that what it is?
The wisdom of the crowd, if you will. Because Aerodrome's
20.
We all know that Aerodrome is launching on mainnet, and that's gonna work. It's gonna give them some order flow. But Aerodrome in the last like 2 days has really started to move. Yeah,
so the B20 native token standard is scheduled to go live July 8th. It is the trusted, easy token standard for issuing any asset on chain. I'm pulling up my screen here, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at, and we'll kind of bounce between the news and the screen. But yeah, that is what this token standard is. Is this trusted token standard for issuing any asset on chain? So B20 is launching tomorrow. Wow. And so Base is clearly looking at the tokenized asset market and trying to, win that, right?
Oh, and absolutely. I mean, RWAs, we see, look, Robinhood is going this direction. Ondo's in this direction. Securitize, Denari, Aerodrome, Base, everyone is going into the RW, which again is just such a broad term.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there's an argument that anything fits into this RWA category. It is literally the largest possible TAM. And so you know, by saying that you are like a major player in RWAs, or, you know, you're going to get this major RWA unlock, you end up with like just a potential market of an enormous size.
Check this out. So this B20 token has transfer policies, freeze and seize, role-based access control, memos, and supply caps. So you remember when the whole Aave Kelpdale thing was happening, and everyone was like, "Dude, how do we not have rate limits in this in this world?" That's kind of what's happening here. It's almost like rate limits.
Read that one more
They're
time.
implemented-
Let's think about
So transfer policies, freeze and seize, role-based access control, memos, and supply caps.
Oh my God. I mean, if you were a cypherpunk in 2014 reading this, you're just shaking in your boots right now.
Yeah, but this is also bullish. Like we're getting all the assets on chain. You know, that's what we want. Like, yes, I get it that we did not build it, but like, dude, we tried. What did we get? What did the incentive structure of the cypherpunk libertarian crypto space get us?
Bitcoin.
Fucking VC pump and dumps, meme coins,
Bitcoin.
and max extraction.
None of that.
We have no good assets on chain.
None of that cypherpunk. We got Bitcoin and Zcash.
We do have Bitcoin. And what do you guys think? Are we going for another green candle here? Another one? What do we think about this? Like, what? Maybe we need to break. Like, if we break this level here, I mean, we're looking pretty good.
I can't with your levels.
Like, I mean,
guys, TA doesn't exist.
Yeah, Rob doesn't think TA works. He's a fundamentals guy.
TA doesn't exist.
How about this, guys?
Oh my God.
What do we think about this, guys?
You're just...
We bullish in the chat? I think everyone writing off layer 0 at $1, at sub $1 is ridiculous. Ondo partnered with layer 0. Arbitrum partnered with layer 0. Robinhood on Arbitrum Orbit. Bags are packed and ready. LFG. Freedom Guy's the man. What is 0 doing? I mean...
Whoa.
So, not interested until we flip. Yeah, until we flip that. Until we flip $1.26, not interested. Whereas, guys, if you go to Solana, we flipped that level. Like, even if you just zoom in a bit, we flipped that level.
New type says TA 100% works. New type, I love you, man. I think it might. I think it works when you want it to work, and then when it doesn't work, you just draw a new line. Like,
what do we think about this? I mean, guys, this looks ready, man.
Greg says TA's bullshit. One Trump tweet and all that TA blows your account up. I used to think TA doesn't work until I learned the hard way.
You'll be interested next week, Jingo says. All right, Jingo. Well, I wish you the best, sir.
Guys.
Yeah. All right. So
I don't think TA works. I mean, look, you might be able to interpret something, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think TA is more it's more hindsight looking, more hindsight looking than forward looking indicators. And
you think?
Yeah, I do. And I think fundamentals, you can actually put a thesis together that'll give you some insight about what is going to happen in the future, which is what we want to invest in. If you're looking at the chart, you're looking at what has already happened. And that's why if something happens in the future that doesn't align with your TA thesis, you just draw a new line. Let's move on.
Dude, me and Rob used to get so baked and just draw lines on charts, bro. In college, we would just get so baked and just do TA and then put the leverage on. So, guys, this is one of my favorite sites. This is Perpetual Pulse.
I was looking at this. They don't have Rise X on here.
I know, it's not big enough. Dude, you good over there? It sounds like you're killing a mouse over there.
Dude, I said on the show yesterday, but I didn't tell you. I ate some guinea pig in Peru.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty fire.
Wow.
And I ate some alpaca. That was gas.
Yo. Rob, when you get a chance, look up golden ratio in nature.
No, I know about the golden ratio. Look, I studied mathematics in university. Like I'm well aware of Fibonacci sequences and golden ratios and the perfect rectangle, all of it. I understand, and you can fall into some very deep rabbit holes about sacred geometry and why these things exist. I think the fact remains that these are things that you find when you're looking for them. When you're not looking for them, they still exist, but they don't give you so much insight about what is to happen.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite sites, guys. This is this is Perpetual Pulse, and it tells you the OI. So Hype's back above 10 bill, which is great. Congrats to them. 10-10 kind of wiped up everybody. So that's good to see. And you can just kind of see like the power law play out where OI volume. And I think like, what's that website when you do like market cap of, yeah, here we go.
Share your, you want to share your other tab there?
Yeah. So what could be cool here for this, and I've been seeing this go around, is this. Like, there's no way that Aster deserves a higher market cap than Lighter. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Someone knows CSM1 in the chat. Can you invite Standard Charter on to see what they are smoking?
Yeah, because they're always saying like I think they gave a Morpho
40x.
target of 34x. They gave an Aave target of 3,500.
I think Standard Charter might be the new Arthur Hayes.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, so
Lighter
this is
with
interesting
the
to me
market
though.
cap with Aster?
I think until Lighter flips Aster, it's probably still a buy. Because it's probably
Now-
deservingly the number 2.
Now,
you know?
this to me is a fundamentals thesis. You can look at the fundamentals. You can look at the like activity, the OI. You can look at some of these metrics. I'm not saying numbers don't matter. I'm saying the TA, when you're just drawing lines on a chart, like
It doesn't matter.
that doesn't matter. But you can look at a discounted cash flow. You can look at revenue. You can look at activity. You can look at growth projections. All of that matters. And I think this is a great example of like how you can potentially draw a conclusion from a thesis by doing like a comparative analysis. You don't ever hear about this, right? But you hear all day technical analysis or fundamental analysis. Do a comparative analysis. Look at what is currently overvalued and what is currently undervalued. And you can project that these things would normalize over, again, everything's manipulated. Timeframes are super subjective. But if you have this thesis that one is overvalued, the other is undervalued, you can put together something and you just have to have a patience and a flexible time horizon.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, someone in the chat says this segment is awesome. It has to flip Aster first, but can it? Yeah, definitely. So you just buy tops all day, LOL. No, that's not the point. The point is like when the markets are in a massive downtrend, you don't just ape in. The market has been super.
I think they were talking about me because I don't use TA to time my entries.
Okay. So how do you look for an entry? I don't know.
You pull up, look, these things are overvalued and undervalued relative to one another. But time horizon is the other. So time horizon is the other factor here. And I think this is where it's like everything's just a difference of time horizon. So like to you, I might buy a top when I bought Zcash last week, right? But if I expect Zcash to eat more market share from Bitcoin and I have a flexible time horizon, I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to wait for it to play out. Other things, might have more of a sense of urgency and are going to be a little bit more important to like try to get a value price relative to where the market is at, in a given time frame. For instance, like Aerodrome. We know that this announcement, this launch is going to go live sometime this month when they're going to come on mainnet. I also tend to think that like that might be a local top, but they are going to get a ton of flows from aggregators that are going to be, directing more order flow to them once they launch, and then that is going to end up, accruing into their token. So even on that time frame, I think it's going to do well. But at least with that trade, you have some sort of sense of urgency. So I might look at the chart. I might say like, all right, over the last week, we're at like the high of the range or the low of the range. But aside from just like looking at like where things tend to price themselves at, that's about as deep as I get into technical analysis these days.
Bitcoin's got a huge fight here. Hype is kind of stalling out at these highs. But yeah, if you zoom out on a lot of these, it still looks really strong. One thing that's absolutely killing my vibe right now is this. It's so, you know, obviously guys, like we own a lot of hype. Like I think, I think we own 7 figures of hype.
Atan is just goated on the sound effects, man.
And
W's in the shot.
fucking Purr's just like, oh my God. Like, I don't know what to do here, guys. Like, it's just like, I mean, so if you look at hype here, so the MNAV is at 0.94, right? So we're like clearly at a discount. So they can't really do anything right now. Because, I mean, what they could do is sell hype to buy the stock to get back to MNAV of 1. But I don't think they're going to do that.
No, so, we heard from David Shamus that
he would.
MNAV under 1. You know what he's going to do?
What he's going to do? Sell hype?
He's going to play squash.
Yeah. That's what he's doing.
That's what he
said.
said.
He's playing squash all right. And so, like, the annoying thing, guys, is Per traded at, I mean, what? It was like, Per traded at like 1150 on June 1st. And if you go to hype on June 1st, it was trading at 73, 74, 75, right? And now we're back. We're back at 70.4. We were at 72 this morning, right? And Per's just like not getting any bid, and honestly, it looks like it just wants to go lower. So
I'm bullish.
I find myself with a pretty large bag of hype between what Rob and I hold, what I hold on my own.
Do you own spot hype?
Yeah,
but less than your per position?
Yes. Yes. My per position is massive comparatively to net worth, and my spot hype position is like second, but also like massive comparatively to net worth. Like I'm all in. Our BitGo account is all in. All my exchanges are all in, and my brokerage is all in. But the problem here is we got obviously I've been talking to you guys about Aerodrome and Lighter and, bags that are under like, I don't know, 100K, 50K. But Michael Saylor killing all the vibes for DATs right now. Yeah, I agree with that. But so...
what was your point here?
So my point is just like, I don't know what to do here. Because if I just, I had re-entered hype like down here at like 58 after kind of getting scared, which I shouldn't have gotten scared. And Per at that point was also down here, had that big pop back up, but it has not tracked the price of hype on this latest move.
But what are you looking at rather than looking at the derivative? Let's look at the actual. What are you seeing here? Read between the lines. What are you seeing here for hype? Like,
I mean, this is ready to go to all-time highs. My take is that we tested that resistance once, then we shot again, tested it super hard, but this has been much more of a like methodical rise. And so I think it's just like a methodical rise, and then we're gonna blow the lid off. That's my take. Like if we just get Saylor's stuff to chill out for a bit, Bitcoin chills out for a bit. I think it's Saylor killing the vibe for Per. Per looks awful. Yeah, I know. Pull some profits to play both sides. Well, I'm in both.
I would, I just tend to think that like staying patient, zooming out, look at a longer time horizon. Like you look at the weekly on Per and it looks fine. You look at the weekly on Hyperliquid and it looks.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Even like the 3-day, it's just like a consolidation above, like it broke out this massive level and now we're just kind of hanging on.
My risk assessment for Hyperliquid here is that bear markets tend to die in apathy. And I think we feel like we're at the end of we're like somewhere, I don't know, it feels weird to say.
I've been saying we have 3 to 4 months left.
3 to 4 months left in the bear?
Yeah. Sell covered calls, Andy. I am a smooth brain. I do not know how to do that, and I will not touch options.
And so let's just play with that theory. If we have 3 to 4 months left and bear markets, okay, I can go with 3 to 4 months left. And we also think that bear markets tend to die in apathy. Well, perpetuals markets are built on like volume,
volatility, and trading.
Exactly. And so apathy is not good for volatility. And so you would expect volatility, thus activity, thus revenue, thus fees, thus value accrual to dwindle as we reach the end of the bear and come back when we restart the bull. My thing is like, what is going to restart the bull? Like, in another month or two, we're going to get more IPOs. SpaceX, I don't know, do we have any sort of like lasting effects? Any like supply overhang from SpaceX?
I don't know, but I know OpenAI and Anthropic are not doing their IPOs this year.
What?
Yeah, you didn't catch that while you were gone. Someone's nuking this thing, huh? You didn't catch that?
Hold on, I'm looking at Polymarket.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive they're not doing them. So that's also another interesting thing that maybe affects the thesis.
60% that the Anthropic IPO happens by December, but only 10% that it happens by the end of September. So people are pricing
maybe they do it at the end of the year.
They're pricing it at a coin flip in Q4, at least Anthropic, OpenAI. 20% that it happens by the end of the year. So
yeah, it's funny what happens when you ask ChatGPT about its own company's IPO.
What does it say?
It says Anthropic 70 to 80%, OpenAI 50 to 70%. Does that align with the prediction markets, or is that different?
Totally. That's if I had to assign probability that it happens.
Yes.
That's totally different. OpenAI says it's
wrong.
80% that it's not happening this year. Anthropic
No, that it is. Oh.
No. According to the prediction market, it's 80% that it's not happening. And Anthropic, it's a coin flip, 50-50 that it happens in November, December.
Just curious, what's your target for hype? Honestly, this goes into whole Robbie's thesis about like, what's your time horizon? Like, my target for this summer, if BTC plays nice, is over 100. For Q1, Q2 next year, I don't know, man. 200? 200 by Q2? End of Q2, 200? 250? So
again, I think time horizon. And then I think the question becomes like, okay, within this year, like how much volatility and how much larger does the asset class grow? And then how much market share does it take from centralized exchanges?
So Sol's been outperforming hype for the last 30 days. Barely, but it has.
I remember when we flipped.
Yeah, that was a fun stream.
Where are we at these days? Hype is at 70 and...
So, Freedom Gas is 600. Folks realizing they're overhyping AI and their prospects to generate revenue in the future. Zama has 10 billion tokens, that's why I stayed out. Clarity Act will drag on until the election. 100% RWA is going to start the bull.
What does that mean?
Yes.
RWA is going to start the bull.
Yeah, what does that mean?
RWAs are like everything. Andy, do you think we should sell lit before December unlocks?
Ooh. It's honestly just dependent on the market conditions. I don't know. It's hard to read anything out right now longer than the summer bounce that we're getting.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I got to think to myself, like, it feels relevant that those IPOs are delayed.
So I got some intel on Derive.
I heard that they've got some revenue here.
So this chart for Derive has been one of the best performers since the beginning of the year. So they started off this year at about 5 cents. So they've doubled this year. One of the best performers of the whole year. And they're doing really solid revenue numbers. And they have some interesting stuff coming. So I'm interested. I had the rumor mill was pinging on this one yesterday. So something for you guys who are watching live, who are dedicated to the show, always coming up. I think it's interesting. I think on a 3-month hold, 2 to 3 month hold, I think it works. I think it works really well.
Anything from our quant recently?
No, had not talked to our quant at all as of late.
Zcash looks incredible.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's just aping Zcash in size.
I mean, this thing looks fantastic. I just think everything sort of looks similar in the sense that you kind of have, if you look at this, you look at Hyperliquid, you look at Near, you kind of got that double top-ish looking thing.
Bang.
What is that, lighter? Yeah.
Yeah, they do look similar. We need to break out here, or else we're back for another round of the bear.
Yeah, are we going to push through that double top highs that we made?
Dude, so I was on the stream on I don't know, it was last Thursday or something, and I was watching this on a different market, and dude, this thing wicked to $3 and then instantly retraced, and I think it was a bug. It was crazy, guys, in the chat. If you remember that, say something in the chat, because that was wild. We saw a God candle live. It was wild. Hype, is it stealing market cap from existing networks, e.g. Solana versus net new buyers? To the end, I think the next bull market crypto is where current value concentrates. So I think yes. So my take on this is hype to Sol. So my take is this is going to compress. 3x is going to compress. And so I think and I put out this tweet, I was Hyperliquid is under-owned amongst Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Sol whales. I mean, the same for Lighter for sure. But I think you could make the argument that the rotation that is happening that has allowed Hype to do well this summer has been large whales rotating in versus new money coming in. I think that's a fair assumption. Been holding Derive since 4 cents. Heard Hayes talk about it a few years ago. Sean, I think you're going to have a nice end of Q3. That's all I'll say. No one talking about Bitcoin Cash. Rob, what is your guy's name who does the sounds? Buddy's hilarious. His name's Atan. We're going to put him on the streets of New York. He's ready. He's going on the streets of New York.
Is Atan available for a little power hour?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he needs a power hour. I think he's going to take my spot.
Can we get Atan in here?
I think we can get Atan in here. I'm going to give him my chair. And he's going to take the screen, do a little power hour, Rob and Atan.
Let's do it.
BCH is dead AF. Dude, who is looking at Bitcoin Cash? Whoa. Apparently someone. I mean, never mind. Thing fell off a cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, we're dumping a little bit now. Let's get a ton in here for a good 5-10 minutes power hour.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah. Perhaps this is super take, but how do we get a bull run when everyone is using perps instead of buying spot? I don't know. If you look at the Hyperliquid ETFs and a lot of the other ETFs, we actually see more inflows to Bitcoin in the ETFs than we have in a long time. Lighter with the market cap of Hype is money. Yeah, I mean, money's one way to put it. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
Polymark is launching a token.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah.
Or they're at least asking about tokenomics.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Rob and we're going to get a ton in power hour.
There we go. Love to see it. We're making it happen out here. Yeah, I'm big fan of Lighter. I think the Perps rally continues. Hit me up in the chat, guys. What are you guys thinking? Lighter with the market cap of Hype. Perhaps is a stupid take, but how do we get a bull run when everyone is using perps instead of buying spot? Yeah, it's a lot of derivative paper getting tossed around. But you know, these things ultimately do track. Like perps track the price of spot and vice versa. So they drag one up with the other. I like money. Yeah, no CSM. So do I. Next bull run will probably be only real projects that actually make money. We will never see a 2021 bull run again. New type, I hear you. I think it makes sense what you're saying. I think we're going to get, we will get a bull run. If you look at the project that we had on today, I mean, we had extended, they're making money to the tune of like hundreds of thousands per day. We had Rise on again, making money to the tune of like, tens of thousands per day. And so these are real companies making real money. How much of that upside is going to be shared with us through buying their tokens? This remains to be seen. Bullish perps volume will lead to higher spot volume due to funding rates. That is true. I think we will end up with something like that. I think you also have monetary conditions that are probably probably easing. I think we already passed peak hawkishness with Kevin Warsh. So I think we end up in a place where monetary conditions are a little bit friendlier. We've gone through this maturation process in the market where teams are more aware of fundamentals. And we end up in a place where, look, these things, like the bad companies die, the good companies stick around, and we end up in a place where a rising tide lifts all boats. We've talked about the tokenization super cycle. We've talked about the neo-finance thesis. There's our boy.
Yo, we here.
We got Power Hour with Atan. Atan, we brought you up so we could hear about the newest segment coming to the Rollup, and also to get your take on a few things. Atan on the streets of New York, or intern Power Hour in New York live. Can you just give us a little bit of what to expect with this segment?
Well, number one, I could say is you could expect the unexpected, in a sense where like it's New York City, like the World Cup, the sports, the Knicks. Like this is a city where you can't expect anything. This is where we're gonna get an unfiltered pulse of what's actually happening with the people, what's in their wallets, what are they trading, what are they investing, what are their thoughts. Instead of hearing to us all the time, we want to definitely head to the streets of New York and get a pulse of what the people are thinking.
Ton, what you're saying makes a ton of sense, because obviously we've integrated the chat as of recently. W's in the chat, and so we know that there's people out here. They're watching, they're listening, they're tuning in, and they are contributing to the show. Literally, you guys in the chat, New Type, Edward, King's Clips, all you guys, Freedom Guy, you guys are like characters on this show. You guys make the show possible. And Atan, I think what you're getting at is that you're going to go out there and you're going to find, and you're going to cast a wide net. You're going to find even more characters out there on the streets.
Exactly. There's anytime you watch like any of your famous like interviewers, and they always have like that one guest or person they interview that absolutely, no matter what's going on, always puts a smile on their face, or like makes you laugh, or just always provides something of like insight. That's what we're going for. Even if it's not the same person, just finding. It's New York. My favorite part about like living in New York is that it's a boiling pot of like different people all together. So I think that's going to be really fun, just meeting different people and like what their like strategy is.
I know it's hot up there. I think you meant melting pot, but it is warm up there. Hopefully you guys aren't boiling in the studio.
It's definitely going to be boiling. It's definitely going to be boiling on the streets when I'm out there.
And so, we're going to get you out there. You're going to be talking to a bunch of new people. We're going to hear what people have to say, and it's going to be real. Freedom Guy says, I've had my plan working since 2017. Lots of huddle and accumulation. Now it's about get to the fun and profitable part. Love me some NYC. Atan, what is your strategy out there right now? What are you holding? What are you looking at? Where are you spending most of your attention?
A lot on Twitter, just scrolling, whether it's split between like the Rollup or looking at like different of like our contemporaries in the space, just always having like a pulse of like monitoring the situation. And using that as like edge. Like a lot of time we do like this TA, but a lot of time like you get a lot of signal from like our show, whether it's people coming on the show talking about like new technologies that they're rolling out, and like seeing that early and like sort of like having a strategy. So I've been on the hyper liquid wave, the per wave, the near lighter. So I'm bullish on all of that because once you're like around it so much, maybe it is a bit of an echo chamber, but at one point I started to actually believe it, that like this is the technology I see the world moving towards. So the strategy has just been stay with the star money, lower the risk down a little bit, and just slowly stack capital.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about, man. Cash flow and outperformance is what we're going for. Do you think we're gonna talk to some of these people on the streets and like, Andy and I have talked a lot about this, right? We've been having guests from around the industry. They've come on the show. We've been doing this for years. They come on, and time again, we find ourselves being like, man, if only we listened to that person that was on the show, if only we bought what they were selling, right? Like typically there's a track record of people coming on, they tell us about product announcements, they tell about launches, they tell us about fundamentals. If we buy the coins that people are talking about on the show, it tends to do well. And we oftentimes find ourselves kicking ourselves for not doing that. Sometimes it works and we're really happy. Do you think the people of New York have a similar level of credibility? Like, if someone is walking around New York, you walk up to them, they're telling us, dude, you got to buy Intel stock, or you got to buy Micron or this semiconductor ETF. Like, should we be taking the advice of the people from the streets?
Taking the advice, iffy, like 50-50. I will say we'll definitely give them a voice. Like, these aren't, I mean, we don't know their credibility. Like, the people we have on our show are like people who have like track records and credibility. But I like the question because the people of New York will, like, these are the people who will have like the plus 20,000 parlay tickets, or like they'll have like the secret sauce of like some stock I probably never heard of, and I have to hit this lotto option buy call. So I think so, to a certain extent. Like, if I'm feeling risky, or like maybe I hit a bet before and I have like some capital lying around, like, yeah, we could do some YOLO plays for sure.
Ton, we're gonna get you a sponsor for this show. We're working on it as we speak. And I just have a feeling that the sponsor is going to come from the prediction market industry. Something about like the volatility, like not volatility of the markets themselves, but like I don't want to say chaos. It's just the breadth of the variety. That's how I want to put it. The variety of what you can find on a prediction market feels very similar to the variety of what you can expect on the streets of New York. So it feels like a prediction market is the right partner for this. So I want to get your take on a couple of trending prediction markets. First, obviously, we've had games all across the United States and all across the North American continent. World Cup is happening. Who do you have winning this entire tournament?
I like France. I like France to take it. A lot of they are the favorites. It's very easy to pick, but just like looking at the teams remaining, England, Morocco, like Swiss, Colombia, I just think France is the strongest. The only one I'm worried about is Spain beating them, because I feel like Spain has their number recently. Lamine looks like he's the next GOAT. But I'm predicting, I'm not betting, I'm predicting that France will win.
I think so. They're the favorite right now. Mbappe is he's dominant. Messi and Argentina squeaked by, so they are looking a little bit weak. They only squeaked by Egypt, so not really sure how that's going to work out.
They also squeaked by Cape Verde. I hope I didn't just butcher the country's name, but yeah. They also robbed them also of that victory.
Yeah. The sleeper, I think, is Norway, because they just feel like they've just got like a warrior spirit. It's hard to beat someone who
Holland. They legit have an actual Viking on their team, with God-given genetics, ready to just do whatever.
Yeah. Pretty insane. Okay, so that's the World Cup. We talked a little bit about the IPOs. Atan, I know you're a Knicks fan, but who do you think is the next team for LeBron?
We heard fingers. Yeah, fingers point towards Ohio, Cleveland. If he's gonna retire, might as well retire at home.
Right.
I think he plays with Steph Curry. He's mentioned it on so many times that he wants to play with the best shooter of all time, and it's fun basketball playing with someone like Curry. And if they're able to also pull off signing Anthony Davis and have like a huge reunion.
Yeah.
I know last time they tried to do this on the Lakers with like Carmelo, that absolutely botched it. They shit the bed hard, but I think it would be different because the Warriors have like a system. They have some good younger core. If they don't have to give them up, though, I'll predict Golden State.
Okay.
I think the guys do.
Golden State, yeah, they're second up. Cleveland. Okay. Cleveland is the favorite there, but Golden State's second best there.
Yeah.
Atan, you like politics?
To some extent.
We got a couple of elections coming up. We got the midterm elections here in the States in November. We've got the next Prime Minister of Israel, if you're tracking that one.
They're always voting for the next prime minister. You have to look into how they do the voting, because we could cover it. It's actually very interesting, because once a prime minister is actually elected, they have to go ahead and form a coalition in like the parliament over there. Okay. And if they're not able to do it, then they have to like redo the votes. So that's why like you always hear something about like the voting and like Israeli politics, because like it's so difficult to get like the whole consensus to like buy into an idea. So it's like, what is it called? Not filibustering. Maybe it's Gary, man. Yeah, I think it is filibuster.
Yeah, filibuster I think is when they just stay in there for like days on end and they just continue debating. But yeah, it sounds like they need to reach a majority like in order to like actually get someone elected. So we think Netanyahu's going to stick around?
I think so. I think he's, for the duration of the war, like a wartime prime minister, like he's the guy.
Okay.
Can't just like throw like a rookie into that situation. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's facts. What about here in the U.S.? People are bearish Newsom and they're bullish AOC.
He mogs. Look,
Newsom?
Whatever his policies are, they're probably whack. I probably don't agree with them whatsoever. They're probably whack. But like the guy mogs, and like I've heard that like people just want to vote for him because he is a very good-looking guy. It's really weird. I think this next, like even presidential election, you're gonna see like what we saw with like New York City, where it's like they're all gonna lean into the memes. They're gonna go all in on clipping. They're all gonna go in on this like goofy distribution, and I think it's going to work. I think it's going to like my age, like, and people who are able to vote for the first time, like they're gonna go after them. And I think you'll start to see, I think it's already starting. You already see it with the Californian and even New York.
It's pretty interesting right now because no one is above a 20% chance to win. JD Vance is at 20%. Marco Rubio's at 14%. I think Marco Rubio would be a decent president. Gavin Newsom, 12%. AOC, 8%. So you've got like you've got 4 underdogs. No one is priced at higher than, a 5 to 1 chance at winning the presidency. So there's money to be made here. You know what? An interesting prediction market strategy here would be like, people are they're all going to have their time to shine, if you will, like probably all 4 of those guys. Just imagine you buy all 4. You buy Vance, yes. You buy Rubio, yes. AOC, yes. And you buy Newsom, yes. And obviously not all of them can win, but you don't buy them for them to win. You buy them for them to like pump when they like say something good or they win a debate, and you sell, and then you just kind of trade it rather than like buy it for resolution.
It's so funny you say that, because I saw the same strategy for the World Cup whenever, like, this was like early when they had like all the winners, France, this, that, and the odds to win were like, I want to say like less than 10, whatever it is, like 8%, but for like whatever it is, like 6, 7 different countries. And yeah, that was the strategy they said too. Like as soon as one country would pop off, boom, close the position. I'm curious if that guy ended up making money.
Yeah.
I hope he did.
Guys, I think that is the end of Atan Power Hour, the end of today's show. Atan, thank you so much, man, for joining. I'm excited to have you on the streets in New York. Very, very exciting to launch new segments. Another great show. Guys, thanks for rocking with us. Maybe LeBron goes to Miami. Maybe France wins the World Cup. Maybe AOC is our next president. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Here at the Rollup, we're going to be bringing you guys everything that you need to know and thinking through it. Guys, we will see you tomorrow, same time. Stay patient. Zoom out a little bit, touch some grass, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I was going to say lower the mic. But
Peace. Ladies and gentlemen.
Nice. I think he closed it.
I'm gonna hop on.
I never noticed that.
Yo, Leo, keep it rolling. But it's not too late.
I never noticed.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm back. Gotta close it out. I'll show you how to close it out, Rob.
Leo, man.
Yeah, here we go. Guys, we're back. Robbie left you guys down with that closeout. You know, it was there was no W's in the chat. Like, first of all, we need W's in the chat. Please, Freedom Guy, Greg, Little Miss Gun, Etan, King's Clips, Sigma Slayer. I love this show. We love you, Miss Gun. Thank you for being a part of it, guys. We're gonna be with you every single day. We're gonna rock with you, bear or bull. We're gonna outperform the market. We own the best coins. We have the thesis. We have the long-term mindset. We're spot bulls. We're long-term spot bulls. That's what we do. We don't trade leverage. We don't get overexcited about the little bump, a little dump. We're long-term spot bulls. And we're going to outperform the market by picking the right assets, holding them, having the mental fortitude to hold them. And we're going to keep winning. We're going to keep showing up every single day. We're just going to keep winning. And we're going to do W's in the chat. We're going to be here tomorrow. You know where to find us. The capital of the financial world, the Empire State Building, the tokenization tower. Whether we're up, whether we're down, we're going to be here. And we're going to win. We're already winning. We're already outperforming the entire market this entire last quarter. I mean, it's been down only, and our portfolios have been up. What else can we do, guys? We can just keep doing it. Spot only, long-term horizons, big mega trends. We're still early. Yeah, we're back. Miss Gunn says we're back. Thanks, bros. Guys, all of you guys, give us a like. Smash a like on YouTube. Turn the notifications on. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. You guys make the show possible. You guys make the show fun. So, guys, W's in the chat. And tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, you know where to find us. You know where we'll be. That was the intern, Etan. Actually, Etan's he's no longer the intern. He's the president of the soundboard. It's a fucking promotion. Guys, we're going to be so rich. Freedom Guy says, W's Niang Chan. Guys, it's on. Stay strong. Stay bullish. Stay zoomed out. Stay long term. Don't listen to TA guys like Rob. And you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Just make sure that you have a pelican of art behind you, because it's really cute. It's really cute.
It's a white ibis.
Nest Warriors, Roll Up Army, smash that like. We're going to be here tomorrow. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for making the show. You guys make the show. Truly. Make it a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you all tomorrow. You know where we'll be. 12:30 p.m. Eastern from the financial capital of the world. You're watching the Roll-Up. Sayonara to the White Ibis. Robert Klages.
Please.